Yo, how's it going, YouTube? I'm back in the video, and today we are going to be talking about why the Utah Jazz just cannot win the NBA Finals. Now, if you're a Utah Jazz fan, I'm not saying your team is bad. I think they're a very good team and a very solid team, but I just do not think they are built as they are built right now to make and win an NBA Finals. And I'm getting into all the reasons I think that in this video. So if you are a Utah Jazz fan, please do not click off the video immediately. Like, hear me out. Just, and then if you still dislike the video after you watch the whole thing, then you can dislike the video. But until then, just hear me out, okay? I'm not saying your team is bad. You're one of the better teams in the NBA. I just don't think good enough to win an NBA Finals. And I'm getting into why I think. So if you do like the video, hit like button and subscribe button. I mean the absolute world to me. And without further ado, without rambling on too much, just get right into this video. Okay, so the first thing I want to get into for this video is going to be that this is a great regular season team. Now, that is a huge reason why in the intro I said I am not saying this is a bad team, because the Jazz simply are not a bad team. They are still one of the better teams in the NBA, and you see that with all the regular season success that they do have. For the past 5 to 6 years, they've been at least a top 6 seed in the Western Conference, and last year was the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, and they currently sit at the number 4 seed. So this team in the regular season has shown they can very easily rack up wins, and that is a huge part due to how good their duo in Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell are. Both of them bring completely different skill sets to the game, but are both elite at what they do and are huge parts to why this team is so successful. But unfortunately for the Jazz, due to how good those two players are, it is also a part of their downfall when it comes into the playoffs. Meaning that although they are a great regular season team and it's very hard to stop them in the regular season, when teams don't really get to individually game plan for that team and they don't have to see the looks that multiple times, and they can win a lot of regular season games due to that. But when it comes to playoff time, teams can really game plan around how to stop the big two, and a reason for that is because they only have 2 stars. Because if you're only going to have 2 stars on your team, you need 2 guys that are very versatile players and are both superstar, megastar level players. We've seen it work with a team like the Lakers a few years ago when they only had Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Now, LeBron James was at the time the best player still in the NBA, and Anthony Davis, when he is healthy, is one of the most versatile, good big men in the entire NBA. He can shoot the 3, he can dribble, play defense everywhere, and it's just a very, very good player. So that's an example of what a good duo can do when they make the NBA playoffs and how they can make it to the finals. But when it comes to the Utah Jazz, the Jazz just are not built in that way. Because although both Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell are very, very good players, they're not versatile to the point to where no matter who they get switched on, they can guard. There's not going to ever be a mismatch. That is the complete opposite. Rudy Gobert last year in the playoffs got exposed for his perimeter defense to the point to where the Jazz had to bench him. And when you have to bench your second best player on the roster, that is always a huge, huge blow to a team's confidence and even a team's ability to win and play their type of basketball that got them there in the first place. So this team is just completely not built for the playoffs, and you can really see that as for the past few years, they have only made it to the second round twice since they've in the last 6 years. All those years, by the way, they were a top 6 seed in the West, meaning that a lot of those series they were in, they were favorites to win and still did not make it, and they were only able to make it to the second round twice, and I'm pretty sure they never made it past the second round in any of those. And probably one of their most demoralizing losses they've had in all those years came last season when they played the Los Angeles Clippers and lost to them in 6 games despite Kawhi Leonard going down with a torn ACL in Game 4, meaning they pretty much single-handedly lost to Paul George. Now, although Paul George played amazing last year in the playoffs, that is no excuse when you have Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year, and Donovan Mitchell, an all-NBA level player with a great supporting cast around them, to still lose to the Clippers. That just shows that no matter how good you play, and really no matter what you do, they can still outcoach your big two, which is never something you want. If you can coach somebody's out of having to take out their second best player due to how easy it is to expose him, you you can never win an NBA Finals with that team, or at least not with adding another star level player to the team. But that is again when it comes to them struggling with only having these 2 stars, because both of them are so good, you have to pay them so much, it makes it almost impossible without trading one of them or letting one of them walk to bring in another star level player to play with them. You either have to sacrifice every supporting cast member you have that is worth anything to anyone in order to bring in another star, and then you have a lot less strength in numbers, which is going to hurt your team even worse. Or you can trade maybe someone like Rudy Gobert, but now you once again only have 2 stars, and you don't guarantee that that is going to work out either. So really how the Utah Jazz are currently built, it is going to be very, very hard for them to really ever win an NBA Finals, because they're kind of stuck where they are way too good to blow it up and rebuild, but they're not good enough to win an NBA Finals, and that is just one of the worst spots to be if you are a Utah Jazz fan, because Portland is just now getting out of it. They have finally decided, look, we have to blow it up. But Portland, for the longest time, was so good that they could not blow it up, but they just did not have the star talent to get past the best teams in the West. And they finally decided we have to blow it up, and they're starting to rebuild their team, as we were seeing the beginning of that with them starting to trade away some key players. And now I think that's what Utah is going to have to do a few years down the line. Now, it probably won't be anytime soon, because Utah is still probably under the impression that they can still win a championship and compete with the best teams, when simply their just duo is not good enough. Not that they're not talented enough to do it, I just don't think they have the skill sets that are required, because Rudy Gobert, if you play a team like the Los Angeles Clippers fully healthy, he cannot guard Paul George or Kawhi, and they're going to make him pretty much useless against any small ball lineup, and teams saw that last year, and they are going to be using that a ton against the Jazz when it comes to this year in the playoffs. So I think either Utah has to go the route of trading Rudy Gobert and hoping to get a star level player and keeping some of your role players intact, or you just have to blow it up, and they're just kind of in that purgatory state where they're right in the middle when no NBA franchise wants to be in that position. But unfortunately, guys, that's my first video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think the Jazz are going to struggle in the future? Do you think they need to blow it up? What do you think they should do going in the future? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And like I said, if you do like the video point, hit the like button and subscribe, man. It means the absolute world to me. And I hope you have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. So you have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.